Hey, Grace Kids teachers. This is a video for the preschool and kindergarten classrooms. Jen and I wanted to express our immense gratitude for you guys, the way that you've been so faithfully serving this year, and able to cover for each other when a teacher is sick or out of town. We really feel like the teamwork has been at an all-time high this year, and we really appreciate it. Now, our numbers are growing. There are a lot of kids in the classrooms, and that can be both challenging, but also extremely rewarding. So thank you for your role in that. A couple things I wanted to mention. The first is that Easter is right around the corner. So in just a few weeks, we're going to be offering three services for Easter. 8, 9:30, and 11. If you're available, please consider signing up for one of those services. But make sure that you go to service and celebrate one of the greatest church calendar days in our year with church family. Don't skip service just so you can serve in Grace Kids. With that being said, I wanted to talk about a couple business items. The first is that in order to best welcome the families in our ministry and also visitors, it's essential that you show up 20 minutes before service starts. This allows us to gather and pray before our doors open towards the kids. We're going to be praying that you are filled so that then you can fill the kids. And this prayer is really foundational. We can't minister without it. So 20 minutes early allows us to pray together and then gives you a few minutes to look over your lesson plan before the kids come in. That being said, you do need to look at your lesson plan before Sunday morning, and most of you are doing amazing at this. And I would encourage those of you that haven't made it a priority to go ahead and do that. It makes a huge difference when you're teaching the class. In the Planning Center Services app, you can go to the date of service, then click on files, and then you'll be able to view the lesson plans from preschool all the way to the 1st through 5th grade class. So look at that. Those are usually posted by Monday evening in the app, or you can log on to the Planning Center Services website and access them there, again, under the date of service and files. Another item that I wanted to mention is that Jen has kindly reorganized the Grace Kids check-in desk to make the coffee more accessible and also pull some snacks out that have been in shelf down below and out of sight. So please enjoy those as a way for us to say thank you to you to serve. And if you don't see anything that you like, you can mention to me and Jen some items that you'd appreciate, and we'll try to put those out on the shelf for you. We really appreciate your service, and we want to express that and give you a way to hopefully feel our appreciation. I wanted to share with you a couple tips and tricks that are helpful as you teach the preschool and kindergarten class. So let me pull up my notes. This will also be sent to you in a document in an email. When I go to teach a preschool and kindergarten class, I've already looked at the lesson plan and I'm aware of which stations are going to need more guidance, which play stations are going to need more guidance, and which ones the kids can do pretty successfully on their own. So be stationed at the ones that need more guidance. And as soon as the kid comes in the door, it's so helpful to be enthusiastic. Hey, Moses, so good to see you. Also, for the kindergarten class, high fives are really helpful. High five. Or if they're not up to it, that's fine. But having a connection point right from the beginning of class is really helpful, especially for kids who have a hard time participating and focusing. Then I wanted to move into talking about transitions. So when you're in the classroom, if you know your lesson plan well, you're going to know how things transition. And it's going to be helpful for you as you move from playstations to the welcome question to do things like, all right, 2 minutes more to finish your PlayStation, and then we're going to start class. 2 minutes are up. All right, come on, gather in the circle beside me. You can hop like a bunny or stomp like an elephant over to the circle. This is something that grabs their attention and helps them participate. And then once they're seated, that welcome question casts the framework for the lesson that you'll be teaching. It's also really helpful at that time to remind the kids, all right, as we talk and share through our lesson today, when it's my turn to talk, I need you to be quiet and good listeners. And if you have something you want to ask or share, raise your hand and I will call on you. Then you can also do things if you find the classroom getting away from you and they're talking and they're not listening, you can do things like this. If you can hear me, clap twice. And they'll be like, what are you doing? You do it again. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, draw a rainbow. If you can hear me, do a dance. If you can hear me, shake your hands, touch your hands. And we're going to whisper. and then you move on to your next activity. This is a way to grab their attention. It's also helpful to have, say, if you could hear me say shh, and the whole classroom goes shh, and it's kind of startling for those kids who are talking, but it captures their attention and usually they quiet right down. It's also helpful to use positive reinforcement. So as you invite them to raise their hand, and then they start to do that, and you remind them to do that, you can also reinforce with, oh, I like how Tommy raised his hand before he asked a question. Yes, Tommy. Or I like how Isabel is waiting in patiently for her craft materials. Thank you, Isabel. Those types of things are helpful, and the kids start to notice and remember what expected behavior looks like in the classroom. I already mentioned the transition of hopping like a certain type of animal or walking like a certain type of animal over from various floor to table or table to floor. You can also do active games that aren't in the lesson plan. If you've got kids that are bouncing off the walls and you've reminded them, all right, this is where we do this activity. Everyone raise your hands up high, move your fingers, catch them, put them in your lap. What we're going to do, things like that. It's just not working. Throw in some activity games. You say, all right, we're going to take a break from the lesson plan. I'm going to set a timer for 20 seconds and we're going to do jumping jacks, as many as we can. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. You can go, we're going to run wall to wall, touch each wall as many times as you can in 30 seconds. I'm going to get my timer. Are you ready? Get marked, set, go. These things just bust up the lesson plans, help some kids express their energy, and then right after that, transition into the next thing. This is all doable if you know your lesson plan. Another helpful thing I wanted to mention is when it comes to the Bible story that you're sharing, make sure you're expressive, using your faces, and try to do things that put the kids in the story. So when we were talking about the Last Supper today, I was like, Jesus took the bread, broke a piece, and said, Tommy, this is my, and it was like, whoa, Jesus is talking to me. Those types of things are really helpful to engage the kids. All right, I'm going to send that in a lesson document to you. The other thing that I wanted to mention is when the parents come to pick up the child, I find it's helpful to have a moment of connection with them. The only way this is possible is if the other kids are like not crowding the gate. So 2 minutes before the end of class, have the kids line up and touch the wall, hold their hand on the wall, stick their tummy on the wall, stick their back on the wall, whatever. You can pretend the wall is glue and they are stuck to the wall. You can then hand them their craft material so that they're ready to go when their parent comes up. Explain everything so you set expectations. Then go one by one. Do you want to say your memory verse to try to get an extra Bible buck today? And if they do, you reward them with an extra Bible buck. And as you see their parent out in the area, then you can go, all right, Isabel, your mom is here. Come on up. But the other ones remind stay at the wall. This is a new concept for them and they're going to need a lot of reinforcement. But I think as we consistently do it, it'll make a big difference and allow us to connect with the parents. Here's what I mean by connect with the parents. Give them a picture into how class was for their child. So, hey, good to see you. Isabel seemed to really enjoy the craft today. And we had a good time talking about how God, blah, 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 blah. Things that are positive, like I loved Isaac's questions today. They were amazing and it helped us have a really good discussion about the story. Hope to see you next week. You can also bring up challenging moments like Moses had a hard time engaging, but we worked really hard to redirect him back into the activity. And I'm going to keep doing that next week. Let me know if you have any feedback for me, how I can best engage him in the class, because he did seem to be having a hard time today. And that just lets the parent know, oh, my child is having a hard time engaging. And as that happens week to week, maybe that's a conversation that I can have with the parent or that I can have with you so that we can best support you and the child and help them participate better in class. The only other thing that I wanted to mention was as you have questions or concerns, bubble them up to me. If there are moments of friction or aggression between children, make a repair in the classroom. Let them know that we use kind hands, we use kind words, we keep our hands to ourselves, invite them to apologize, things like that. But if there are events where a child is hurt, they're hit and it hurts, they're sad, they're upset, they cry, would you bring me into that conversation just so I can have a conversation with the child? And then if needed, also talk to the parent and make sure that they know how to, well, I guess depending on the situation, just that we can work through it together. So, yeah, bring me into that conversation. That is all that I had to talk to you guys about. Thank you so much again for everything that you're doing. As our kids ministry grows, and it will continue to grow. We want to make sure that we're supporting you. So if there are Sunday mornings where you are feeling empty, I would love to know whether that's, oh, Grace, I'm not feeling today. I'm here, but it's gonna be a struggle today, whatever it is. I want to know so that I can pray with you and ask the Lord to wash over you with his rest. But then also, I'm going to try to find an assistant to put in there with you so that they can share the load of teaching and that you don't have to push through on your own. I always want you to be supported. And let me know too if there are other ways that I can do that better. This is a way that you can share the love of Christ with people. And in being the conduit of that love, you will experience God's love as well. But it's not something that we do by ourselves. It's God's design that we work together. So please involve me in those conversations. Bubble up as well any feedback that you might have. I appreciate your time and I look forward to talking with you soon.